Hi, my name's Sarah Jane Walls and I am a mum of 3 and I am a movement teacher, Pilates teacher for 20 years, and I'm also a manual therapist. This is my third little girl, Sophie, who is 11 weeks old today. Are you maybe finding that laughing, coughing, sneezing, that you are leaking? Now please know that you're not alone, that this is quite a common condition after delivery, but know that there is help in working your pelvic floor, isn't there? Yay. Pelvic floor dysfunction does not have to control your life. It does not have to be something that you just put up with. You can essentially make this better and get your life back. Now you may have just recently had a baby, just like myself, filming this just now. Little baby Sophie, who's just out of screen here, is 11 weeks old today, and she's my third baby and was a forceps delivery, as was my first. So I totally understand what it feels like to lose control of your pelvic floor, to have that stress incontinence, and I can happily say at 11 weeks postpartum I am now in control of my pelvic floor and have my freedom and confidence back. That can be you too, so please don't suffer in silence if you are struggling with your pelvic floor. So what is your pelvic floor? I'm sure most of you watching this will have heard that, but do you actually know what it is? So essentially your pelvic floor is a group of muscles, and the muscles run from your tailbone at the back right through to your pubic bone at the front of your pelvis, and also side to side as well. So if you think about them referred to as being like a sling, some people also think of them like being like a trampoline. The pelvic floor muscles work as a unit and are part of what's known as your core. So you may have heard of working your core before, and your pelvic floor is part of that core support and control. They also work in stabilising your spine, and they work in conjunction with your diaphragm, which is your main respiratory muscle. Your pelvic floor muscles also control that abdominal pressure. So for example, when you are maybe in an exercise class and you lift something heavy, or out with an exercise class and you go to lift something like your new baby, especially when they're in the carry seats that go into the car, that pressure that is in the abdomen, your pelvic floor muscles are part of that, and part of that control mechanism as well. A woman's pelvic floor muscles support the bladder, the uterus, and the bowel. How do you know that you're contracting your pelvic floor muscles correctly? This is something that many clients have asked me over the years. How do you know you're actually doing it correctly now? So one of the first ways of discovering where your pelvic floor muscles are, and to make sure that you're contracting the right muscles, is to stop your urine flow halfway through. So now I should stress, don't do this every time you go to the bathroom, because you can damage your bladder. So essentially the next time you go to the bathroom, if you stop your urine flow halfway through, that is your pelvic floor muscles that are controlling that. Now, it's important to also see that your pelvic floor muscles are not just the front passage, they're also your back passage. And research has been shown, that's been done recently, that shows that women who are cued to close off their back passage, so to think about stopping yourself letting wind out, it's been shown that we're essentially understanding what we're doing more than cueing from the front. So if we think about cueing from the back passage, so imagine that you're stopping yourself letting out some wind, and then drawing up away from the pants and bringing that contraction, that squeeze up to the front passage. Hopefully that makes a wee bit more sense to you. So just imagine you need to go to the bathroom to maybe let off wind, and you're stopping yourself doing that. That's essentially what you're doing. You're closing that back passage off and then bringing that contraction through to the front and closing the front passage off. Now, when you contract your pelvic floor muscles correctly, nothing external should be contracting. So essentially from outside, nobody else should be able to tell that you're doing anything. So your bum cheeks should not be coming together, the inner thighs shouldn't be coming together, and you shouldn't be holding your breath or drawing your belly in. It should all be relaxed, and many people find that really difficult, especially the relaxing of the tummy muscles. So we want to have the belly muscles nice and relaxed, we want to have the inner thighs relaxed, we want to have the bum relaxed. In terms of the muscles on the outside should be relaxed. It is literally just closing off that back passage, closing off the front passage and drawing up, okay? So you shouldn't be squeezing your bum cheeks together or squeezing your thighs together or drawing your belly and restricting your breath, because actually that is doing the opposite of what you want to be doing. So we want to be relaxed through the belly, we want to be relaxed through the thighs and the bum. Now, what some of my clients will say to me is, but Susan, I can feel a contraction low down in my abdomen, and that is normal. Anything below the belly button, any kind of flattening off of the belly down below the belly button is absolutely normal. That's all linked and is perfect. That's what you want to be seeing. But what you don't want is this tensing up of the upper part of the tummy or making yourself feel like you want to hold your breath. That's the opposite of what you want to actually do. So it's that, let yourself relax. Now, when you contract your pelvic floor muscles, it's also really important that after a contraction, you allow yourself to relax. That's super important. So the first exercise that I want you to do with me is to get that awareness and start building some strength in your pelvic floor. So you can be doing this as long as your healthcare provider has given you permission to do your pelvic floor exercises after the birth of your baby, then you are fine to do this. So the first exercise we're going to start with some breath. So I want you to be breathing in and taking in as much air and feeling them fill up your lungs. So really filling the lungs up. Now, when we breathe in, what we want to try and do is let the air come down, but not only go down, but to widen and to go out to the sides. So I want you to almost imagine you're breathing into your rib cage. Almost think of your rib cage like an accordion that's expanding as you breathe in, and then as you breathe out, you're squeezing the lungs with the rib cage and allowing that air to come out. Okay, so it's that inhaling and exhaling. So I'm going to do this now, and you can close your eyes if you wish to. So we take a big deep breath in, and as I exhale, close the back passage, close the front passage, and draw my pelvic floor up away from my pants. So I'm drawing my vagina up. I'm holding that for 10 seconds, keeping it up as much as I can, and then I let it drop down, completely relaxing. So I go up to the 10th floor, then I go straight down to the basement floor. And I do that 3 times. I would recommend that you start with the breath so that you are not subconsciously over contracting through the abdominals. Remember, your diaphragm is very much related to your pelvic floor. It all works in connection, so we want to be promoting that relaxatory effect of the diaphragm, of the abdomen, and that we're not over tensing, we're not creating that internal pressure that's then going to push everything down. So your breath is something that you've really got to work on. So remember that you want that breath to be really wide going out. So just visualize, that visualization process really helps in, if you can see it in your head what you're trying to do, it will help you achieve it. Even if you feel you're miles away from achieving it, I promise you, just try and visualize, close your eyes, go to somewhere where you have no distractions, and try this, and eventually it will become second nature. Eventually you'll be able to do these exercises in an instant. You'll not even need to do all the breath work to prepare yourself. You'll not need to get yourself into a comfy position. You'll be able to do it anywhere, whether that's sitting at the traffic lights, or whether that's while you're breastfeeding baby or feeding baby, or whatever you're doing. You'll be able to do this, I promise you, but you've got to start somewhere, and it's always difficult when you're learning something new. And for many of you, you might feel like you've no feeling down there and you don't know that you're doing it right. So please persist, please keep trying. I promise it does get easier. Now, having said that, some of you may need additional support and help, so please reach out to your local area, to your local women's health physiotherapist would be somewhere I would point in the direction of. If you look in your area or speak to your GP clinic, then they will be able to give you information on physiotherapists that specialise in women's health, and they will be able to check that you're contracting properly when you're doing your exercises. So they'll be able to check internally. They'll guide you. The second exercise that I want to talk to you about, once you have managed to hold that contraction for 10 seconds and maintain that, is starting to get some coordination in your pelvic floor. So what I mean is, it's so that when you're out and about, you're walking, you're laughing, you're jumping, coughing, that you're able to, that pelvic floor is able to switch on, and that you're not getting any leakages there. So what we want to do here is this fast contraction and fast release. So it's literally drawing up. So you're drawing up and releasing down quite quickly. You're quickly drawing up and releasing straight back down. So if you imagine pelvic floor being like an elevator, you're going to go up to level 3 and then you're going to go down to the basement level really quickly. So it's literally like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And if it helps you use a metronome, essentially what you want to be doing is drawing up, releasing down, drawing up, releasing down, drawing up, releasing down, drawing up, releasing down. And you want to aim for maybe kind of 6 to 10 of them, 3 times. And that's it. Those are my best tips for pelvic floor. And I can honestly tell you, Sophie is just here out of camera shot. She's 11 weeks old as I film this just now. And honestly, after another forceps delivery that resulted in quite a lot of stitches, quite a lot of damage down there, and I'm good. I am back to normal function. Now I will tell you that for the first 5-6 weeks of being postpartum, that was not the case. Laughing, coughing, sneezing, jumping, just not happening. I had to have panty liners on, and if I just left that and not worked my pelvic floor, then that would be the case. That would be the reality, no doubt, of where I would go. Essentially, ladies, you have to put the work into this. There isn't a pill, there isn't medication, and surgery is never the option. You've got to do this, you've got to put the work in, and I promise you that you can get your life back, you can get your confidence back. You don't have to put up with stress incontinence. You can build up. So please just put that work in. Try and just see that light at the end of the tunnel. Always remember that if you are doing your exercises and you're struggling, feel that there's maybe more going on there, please speak to your medical health provider and get some advice. Your GP should be able to put you in touch with a local women's health physiotherapist, and they will be able to internally check if you're contracting the muscles properly, because I appreciate that sometimes it's just about getting that brain connected to the muscles, and for many of you, you might be completely numb down there. Please always get help if you need it, and good luck.